Hey, I'm gonna do a quick video on how to install 3-wire smoke detectors. These would be considered hardwired smoke detectors that are wired into the high voltage of your house. You do want to make sure that you kill the power to all of them before you decide to wire them in. And if you like gel connectors or B connectors, like beanie connectors like that, those will typically not work. You will need some small wire nuts, about the smallest size that you can get, if you have to change out the connectors. And if you're not going to exactly the same type of smoke detectors that you already had in, you're going to likely need to cut off the wires, change out the connectors to work with your new smoke detectors. Now we're going to move to a room and talk about those real briefly. So I chose the BRK First Alert, and they are 3-wire. By the way, I am a security professional. You know, they don't have to be professional to do this, but I do this for a living. So you'll notice here that you have a positive and negative. These will match the black and white wires in your ceiling. Then you have this wire here is the one that connects all of your smoke detectors together. That's what will make them all go off at the same time. If you have 2 in the house, you know, and they're hardwired together, they should all go off if the smoke alarm goes off. Not if this is not connected. If you have 5 of them, this wire needs to be connected to make them all go off. The new laws in every state and just about every municipality is you have to have them all hardwired together. So I'm going to take these 2 off, and then I'm going to get a, where did I set it down? Oh, here it is. I'm going to get the wire stripper. We're going to cut this wire off here, and then I'm going to strip it with a little stripper. Come off that way. So now I have 3 wires, and before I move to the next step, I'm going to move the ladder. She can help me move the camera. Then we'll go on to the next step. So these are 3 wires coming out of the ceiling. Again, make sure you cut the power off to these. If they're not labeled in your fuse box, don't go work on them. They should be labeled, but don't feel afraid to cut those wires off. These old connectors, these smoke detectors are made to last for 10 years. These old connectors, just throw them away. Like, they're no good anymore. It's highly unlikely that you'll have exactly the same type of connector. So at that point, I'm going to also strip these 3 wires like I did that orange one I showed you a minute ago. You can also, this is a cheap wire stripper. Need to go. I can't find my good one. I didn't know what it is. You know, I don't know what it is because I don't put things back in the same place and make a mess of them. Now, look, I haven't changed anything on the smoke detector yet. I haven't taken the base off or anything, but I stripped those 3 wires and put the wire stripper up there. Now, most of the new bases are cut to where they will fit most any type of a receiver. If you'll notice this right here, that's kind of an S shape like that. This is actually these are more than 10 years old. These are probably a lot older, but the old bases weren't quite as adaptable as the new ones are. And I'm gonna go ahead and take this base off. No sense in saving it, right? So there, I'll take that one down. I don't really feel the necessity to tell people how to use wire nuts. I imagine most of you know how. If you're a DIY do-it-yourselfer, twist your wires together. And again, this is about the smallest wire nut you can get. It twists right on pretty quickly. And again, make your colors match up here. That was white to white, black to black, pretty self-explanatory. Again, you can use B connectors if you want, but I couldn't see any B connectors big enough for these. This is the correct electrical way to do it here. So if you're going to go replace it in your house, it is high voltage. Consider high voltage. So, and then some houses will already come with orange. Some of the older ones will be wired like this with yellow. But that should be the one. Actually, you know, make sure you check your diagram, check your wiring. But there you go. So those 3 are all together, wired together like they should be. Again, so this is just the smoke detector I showed you earlier. You're going to remove it from the base. Most of them have a tab like this, which keeps the battery from being connected so your batteries don't run down. Leave that in for now. You don't need to remove it immediately. We're just going to install the base. And this base is similar to the one that we just took off. You can go back up here towards the light. So, you know, the side that has the most writing is going to come down. The flatter side goes against the ceiling. You put your wires back up through there. I don't know that I moved those down quite enough. Well, maybe I did. We'll see. So, I'm sure somebody else can do this better than me. But then again, they're not doing the video, so who cares? All right, yeah, I need to move that one down just slightly. I have my screwdriver in my back pocket. Some of the space on these is going to be different than your old ones. You may have to move them down a little bit to get them to fit properly. There we go. Now we got it. Now we got it in there. All right, so we got 2 slots. Those fit pretty evenly. Real quickly, screw them back up. I get criticized all the time by James. James will watch the video. Why don't you ever use an electric screwdriver or drill, man? Why do you always use a regular one? Because I like the regular one. Why do I like the regular one? I freaking hate batteries. Those batteries are expensive. I can take this thing, finish it, stick it in my pocket. All right, now. All right, so this is your actual smoke sensor that we're going to put up there. If you'll notice, these pins are very, very thin. I have lots of customers who call, hey, change the battery out on whatever device, and then it doesn't any longer work. Those are very thin and easy to bend. Make sure that you treat them kindly and nicely, so when you plug in the new one, you don't bend those over, and these never ever work again, because you will have to replace them if you bend those over. All right, so now we're just going to plug this little sucker in. And again, I'm making sure I get my holes to match up perfectly. There we go. They're clipped right into place. It'll actually hang there once you get it clipped in. I'm going to tuck the wires back up in the ceiling. And then these are pretty easy to put on. You just find a slot that there we go, kind of locks in place. Turn it clockwise till it stops turning. Now, notice the tab is still in here. I have not connected the battery yet because this is still in there. Once I take this out, it's going to beep once. Then I'll show you how you can test them all very, very quickly. When you test them, you're going to depress this button, and it's going to make all the smoke sensors that I've already wired in the house go off because they're wired together. That's why you want to test them after you do it, to make sure you have a good connection. So again, I'm going to pull this. It's going to beep once, and then I'll hit the test button after it beeps. There you go. Hit the test button. Now wait. Yep, all of them in the house are going off. We got it wired up correctly. It'll stop in just a second. Test mode shuts off. They don't beep anymore. Now you have your smoke sensors installed.